She outsold Alcaraz and Sinner without hitting a single ball. A 21-year-old from the Philippines just did something no tennis player her age was supposed to be able to do. She didn't win a Grand Slam. She didn't break a ranking record. She sold a t-shirt. And in doing that, she left two of the biggest names in tennis standing on the shelf. While Carlos Alcaraz and Jannik Sinner's official merchandise sat untouched on Nike's website, Alex Eala's $42 shirt vanished within minutes of going live. Not hours. Minutes. Before she has even walked onto the court at Flushing Meadows for the 2026 US Open, her name has already outsold two men who between them have won a stack of major titles. Stick with this video, because what's happening to Alex Eala right now isn't just a merchandise story. It's the story of how a teenager who used to sit outside the world's top 100 quietly became one of the most talked about names in sport, in fashion, and in her home country all at once. And by the end, you'll understand exactly why organizers are moving higher-ranked players off the show courts just to make room for her. Here's the part almost nobody is talking about yet. This wave of attention didn't start with a tennis win at all. It started with a bag. A single Instagram story, a plain white t-shirt, relaxed purple pants, and a designer tote slung over one shoulder on a flight from Washington, D.C. to Toronto. Fans zoomed in immediately, and what they found sent them down a rabbit hole that ends with a piece that could fetch thousands of dollars on the resale market today. We're gonna walk through the dress, the shirt that sold out faster than tennis royalty's own merchandise, the designer bag collection that keeps getting spotted in the wild, the major hotel brand that just made her the face of an entire region, and the surprisingly personal reason her gear keeps carrying words written in Tagalog. If you want to actually understand the Alex Eala moment, and not just the headlines, don't skip ahead. It builds. And if you're new here, hit subscribe now because we're about to go deep into one of the most unusual crossover stories in sports right now. And you don't want to miss where this one is heading. A shirt that shouldn't have sold out. Let's start with the number that kicked off the frenzy. $42. That's the price Nike put on a plain black cotton t-shirt bearing Alex Eala's name. It's not flashy. It features a gray floral graphic on the front, her name in script across the back, and Nike's "Just Do It" slogan underneath. That's it. When it went live, Eala shared the news herself on Instagram stories, telling her followers she finally had her own shirt and that they knew what to do. They did. According to fashion writer Jessica Schiffer, the shirt sold out within hours of release. TMZ reported it sold out within minutes. Either way, by the time most fans tried to click "Add to Cart," it was already gone. Here's the detail that turned a merchandise drop into a genuine sports story. At the exact same moment, Nike had newly released player merchandise available for Carlos Alcaraz, the reigning force in men's tennis, and Jannik Sinner, a multiple Grand Slam champion. Both remained in stock. Sabalenka's gear, too, stayed on the shelves. A 21-year-old ranked nowhere near the top of the world rankings had just outsold two of the most decorated players on tour, and she'd done it with a shirt some fans openly called low effort. That's not a typo. The backlash was real. Comments rolled in criticizing the design as too plain, too dark, too hard to even read. One fan on Nike's page complained that the lettering was so dark on dark you couldn't make out what it said. And yet, complaints and all, it sold out anyway. That combination, public criticism paired with instant demand, is usually reserved for artists and franchises with decades of built-in loyalty. Eala built it in about a year and a half. So how does a player who wasn't even a signature Nike athlete pull that off? To answer that, we have to rewind to what's been happening at tournaments all summer. The crowds that changed everything. Long before the shirt sold out, organizers were already noticing something strange happening at Eala's practice sessions. Practice courts are usually quiet. A handful of dedicated fans, some scouts, maybe a coach's family. Eala's practice sessions turned into events. Crowds gathered that would be unusual for a player with her ranking and experience, and tournaments began responding by handing her prominent court assignments, sometimes even relocating more highly ranked players to smaller venues to accommodate the demand around her. This didn't happen overnight. It built through a string of milestones. Eala broke into the world's top 50 late last year. She continued climbing through the early months of this season, reaching a career-high ranking in the 20s by March. Then came the moment that really lit the fuse, her first WTA singles title, one at the Mubadala DC Open, where she beat Jessica Pegula in the final. It made her the first Filipina to win a WTA 500-level title, and it turned Eala mania, as fans and media started calling it, into something impossible to ignore. The Canadian Open sold out every one of her matches. Ticket prices surged for her match against Amanda Anisimova at the Cincinnati Open. In Toronto, the tournament even started serving chicken adobo at its concession stands in her honor, a small but telling sign of just how much the sports audience was shifting to follow her specifically. This is the part that matters. The fashion moment didn't create the fame. The fame created the appetite, and fashion simply gave fans a way to spend money on it. If you're enjoying this deep dive, now's a good time to hit that subscribe button, because we've still got the story of the Chanel bag ahead, and it's a genuinely wild piece of internet detective work. The dress with a hidden meaning. Before the shirt, there was the dress. Nike unveiled Eala's US Open kit days before the shirt dropped, and the centerpiece was a $140 royal blue tennis dress from Nike's Court Slam line. Nike describes it as a basketball-inspired piece made from recycled polyester, with large mesh panels along the back and sides and a racerback silhouette built to sit over a sports bra. Functionally, it's designed for movement on court, with Nike's dry fit technology built in. But the color is where the story gets personal. The dress comes in what Nike calls an Old Royal colorway, a deep blue that fans immediately connected to the blue found on the Philippine flag. Whether or not that was Nike's explicit intention, the timing and the symbolism landed exactly the way Filipino fans wanted it to. And this wasn't the first time Eala's gear carried a message home. During her Wimbledon run earlier this year, Nike gave her a custom hair tie featuring the sampaguita, the national flower of the Philippines. Her visor that tournament carried a phrase in Tagalog: "Once something grows, it cannot be stopped." Her kits have carried a second phrase too, about reaping what you plant. These aren't throwaway design choices. Eala has spoken about how sentimental it feels to wear pieces that carry a part of her culture onto some of the biggest stages in the sport, calling it both a tribute to where she comes from and something she simply finds beautiful. That thread continued into a full collaboration months earlier, when Nike and Manila-based artist Georgina Camus created a limited in full bloom t-shirt built around the sampaguita design. Released through Nike's official Philippine retailer and featured in an intimate shoot for Vogue Philippines. So by the time the US Open dress dropped in that unmistakably Filipino blue, it wasn't a coincidence. It was the continuation of a pattern Nike and Eala had been building together for over a year. The bag that broke the internet. Now here's where things get genuinely fun, because this next story wasn't planted by a brand at all. It was fans doing detective work on a single travel photo. Before flying from Washington, D.C. to Toronto for the Canadian Open, Eala posted a quick outfit check on her Instagram story. Nothing dramatic. A plain white t-shirt, relaxed purple pants, loafers. But slung over her shoulder was a bag that immediately caught the eye of style-conscious fans. Within the day, they'd identified it as a Chanel tote, believed to be from the brand's fall 2010 or 2011 collection, featuring the label's signature quilting in purple and white tweed, forming a diamond pattern across a padded exterior, finished with leather and chain straps. Pieces from that era of Chanel don't circulate often. When they do appear on the resale market, they typically start at around $2,500. For a bag that's now well over a decade old, that's a serious statement about both taste and access. And it wasn't a one-off. Fashion writers covering Eala's off-court style have since cataloged an entire rotating collection. A white Chanel mini round vanity with gold hardware for a resort look, a vivid red Chanel lambskin flap bag, a Bottega Veneta sardine bag paired with a cropped blazer and denim, and a structured black Chanel quilted bag worn with an oversized cream knit and low-rise denim. She's also stepped into modern Filipiniana designed by her uncle, the Filipino designer Red Eala, blending sculptural sleeves and soft draping with family heritage on the red carpet. None of this is styled by accident. It's the portrait of someone building a genuine personal aesthetic, not just wearing whatever a sponsor hands her. And fans have taken notice, tracking her looks the way they track a celebrity's red carpet history. We're only about halfway through this story, and there's still the biggest business deal of her year to get to. So if you haven't already, now's the moment to subscribe, because what's coming next explains exactly how far this is going to go. From the court to the boardroom, merchandise selling out is one thing. What happened next is the real signal that brands see something bigger in Eala than a single viral moment. Just days before the US Open, Marriott Bonvoy announced Eala as the face of its Tennis the World campaign across Asia-Pacific, excluding China. Marriott Bonvoy is the official hotel partner of the Australian Open, and as part of the deal, its members now get early access to tickets for the 2027 Australian Open, along with other tennis-related experiences built around Eala. In its own announcement, Marriott Bonvoy described her as embodying the brand's spirit of curiosity and bold discovery, pointing to her breakthrough performances and her deep connection to Southeast Asia as the reasons she made sense as their pick. For her part, Eala framed the partnership around something that's been true for her entire career: travel. Life on tour means constantly moving between countries, and she's talked about how every tournament brings a chance to experience new places and new people, which made the fit with a travel brand feel natural to her. This is a genuinely different kind of deal than a shoe or apparel sponsorship. It's a regional ambassador role with a major global hospitality brand, the kind of partnership usually reserved for players who've already won multiple majors. Eala landed it off the back of one WTA title, a run of viral moments, and an audience that brands are increasingly convinced will follow her anywhere. Where this all collides: Flushing Meadows. So now we arrive at the moment all of this has been building toward: the 2026 US Open. And this tournament carries a weight for Eala that goes beyond fashion or merchandise entirely, because Flushing Meadows is where her career, in a very real sense, began. Back in 2022, at just 17 years old, Eala won the US Open girls singles title on those same courts. It's also where she recorded her first ever Grand Slam main draw win, and where she reached the second round last year before falling to Christina Buxa. Every defining moment of her young career keeps circling back to this one place. This time, she returns as a fundamentally different kind of athlete. Not a promising junior anymore. Not even just a rising tour pro. She returns as someone whose name now moves product faster than established Grand Slam champions, whose practice sessions draw crowds that used to be reserved for finals day, and whose off-court style is being tracked with the same intensity as her results on it. The question hanging over this tournament isn't really about fashion at all. It's about whether Eala can turn this wave of attention into results that match it. Can the player who's dominating headlines also dominate the draw? Because if she does, if the Eala effect and an actual deep US Open run happen in the same 2 weeks, this stops being a crossover story about a viral t-shirt and becomes something much bigger: the arrival of a genuine global star on both fronts at exactly the same time. That's the story worth watching unfold over the next 2 weeks. Not just what she wears walking onto Arthur Ashe Stadium, but what she does once she gets there. Before you go, if you found this deep dive into Eala's rise interesting, make sure you're subscribed, because we'll be tracking her US Open run match by match, along with whatever comes next on the fashion side. Drop a comment and let us know. Does the growing attention around her style make you root for her even harder once she's actually on court? We'll see you in the next one.